Hey guys, Michael the DC Multiverse Collector here, really excited to be bringing you this review of the gold label DC Multiverse Rookie and Mr Bloom from McFarlane Toys. First up, big thank you to Head Start Toys and McFarlane Toys for providing me with this sample for review. Now, if you want to pick a copy of this up, I highly suggest shopping at any one of your local Aussie independent retailers if you're in Australia. My favourite is Green Rock Comics. Now, they have a really great range, free shipping over $100, fast shipping, great store, highly recommend them. So Green Rock Comics get my stamp of approval. Now, this set you will see is a mega figure and standard figure 2-pack with Rookie and Mr Bloom, both from the New 52 Snyder and Capullo run of Batman. For those of you who aren't familiar, this storyline, broadly speaking, took place after the apparent death of Batman, where there was a void in Gotham, and Jim Gordon essentially had to assume the mantle of Batman, and he did so partly in this GCPD Rookie Batsuit. So it's kind of like an armoured suit that Jim Gordon sits inside. You can see here we get the Jim Gordon alternate head to pop on there. We'll have a look how that works. And Mr Bloom is a villain in that storyline. It's called the Super Heavy arc from memory. Comes after Batman Endgame, and Mr Bloom was a really creepy, interesting, unique villain, and I really love when we get sort of modern, unique Batman villains. I love it when we get those in figure form. It's always fun to get something for the first time. I don't believe there are any previous Mr Bloom figures. If any of you out there know of one, let me know, but I think this might be the first time Mr Bloom has been recreated in plastic, so that's really cool. This 2-pack looks really nice on the surface. I can see there's a display base in the background. We've got a collector's card, we've got the alternate head. We'll have to see what else is going on in there, but yeah, I'm really pumped to get this open. And as you can see, the back features what I assume is very nice Greg Capullo artwork. It looks like it to me, of the Rookie Batsuit and Mr Bloom just being a weird little freaky flower garden guy. And you'll see it just says Rookie and Mr Bloom. Doesn't actually reference Super Heavy, which is interesting, but there you have it. Anyway, without further ado, I say let's get this box open and have a look at these awesome looking figures. Okay, so before we look at the figures proper, I just want to have a look at what we get in the box in terms of accessories. Now, it's a fairly standard and modest offering. Let's start with the boring stuff. We get 2 display bases. We've seen these a million times. They're thin, basic, and boring, but I'm always grateful to have them. They are helpful in posing your figures and standing them up, so there's that. We also get the collector cards. You'll see that beautiful Greg Capullo art again of Mr Bloom and the Rookie Batsuit. And on the back is a data file. You can pause and have a look, especially have a look at Mr Bloom. I think he's just a really interesting villain. I liked him in the comic. I thought he was creepy, violent, and original. So yeah, really cool. And the Rookie Batsuit is pretty cool too, so you can have a read of that if you wish. We also get this unmasked Jim Gordon head, because of course it is Jim Gordon in that Rookie Batsuit. You might be thinking this doesn't look like Jim Gordon, and if you haven't read the comic, well, yeah, this is exactly what he looks like in the comic. This is how Capullo drew him. He had a sort of a shaved military style haircut, he shaved a moustache, and this is precisely what he looked like in that art. So in terms of execution and accuracy to the source material, it's a home run. Whether you like it artistically or not, well, take it up with the king, Greg Capullo. We also get this display base. We often get these in the 2-packs. It's kind of nice to have them, but I don't really like them because I find them a little bit big, a bit cumbersome, and it's awkward to pose figures on them. But hey, you know, better than not having anything, I guess. This looks like a reuse of the display base from the Dark Knight Returns Superman vs. Armored Batman 2-pack, I think. I think that's where I've seen this before. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Where is this from? I've definitely seen it. It's obviously a really nice sculpt, hollow on the back. But it's lacking in paint, so it just looks a little bit unconvincing, I think, generally, and I don't know that you gain that much in terms of like photography or anything from having this, but like I said, nice to have it, not essential. So that's what we get in terms of accessories. I'll touch on this more when we talk about the figures, but I think it would have been really nice to get some alternate hands for Rookie and especially Mr Bloom. But I don't know that that would have been too much of an ask, but it's a shame we didn't get any, and I certainly would have rathered a set of alternate hands for each of the 2 figures instead of this. But hey, for what it is, it's not a bad offering. Okay, so I thought I would start by looking at Mr. Bloom. Now look, I don't think anyone, or not many people, are going to be picking up this 2-pack solely to get Mr. Bloom. I think Rookie's the star of the show. But, you know, for me personally, I just really love getting new Batman villains, unique Batman villains, and Mr. Bloom is sort of a modern one. He's a cool one, an exceptionally creepy, violent, original new Batman villain. So I'm really excited to get him in figure form. Like I said, I don't think this character has been made as a figure before. Correct me if I'm wrong. If this is indeed the first time we get him, I think it's a really valiant attempt. Starting with the overall impressions, things I like. I really like this head sculpt. You see it's got that really nice flower sculpt, and it's got those beautiful pink highlights and the nectar kind of pollen in the middle. It's exactly like the art. It looks really, really creepy and cool. And it is on top of that featureless, creepy, blank head, which is exactly like the comic, really captures that creepiness. I love it. The other thing I really like are these hands, these pointy fingers, these elongated claws, and both of them are in really good gestures. There's like a pointy finger here and like a gripping, menacing, like gesturing hand here, and they're in that sort of zombie like decaying looking flesh. It looks exactly right. It looks great. I think one of my big regrets of this set, though, is that we didn't get some alternate hands. Now, in the comic book, Mr. Bloom could extend his body and his limbs at will, kind of grow and stretch, and it was really, really disconcerting and eerie, and he would often impale people on his blade-like fingers. So there was lots of stabbings of heads and chests with these blade-like fingers, kind of like Lady Deathstrike from X-Men, and it was really awesome. And I think it's a really big missed opportunity that we didn't get alternate hands for Mr. Bloom with some really sharp looking like blade claws. I think that would have given him some extra playability, some extra menace, and it would have made for a more even match against the Rookie Batsuit, kind of a more even sort of villain for it to go up against. Something a bit more menacing with a bit more like display ability, photography potential. I just think that would have been really cool and it would have added a lot. I would trade that display base for some creepy Mr. Bloom hands in a heartbeat. So I think that is a missed opportunity. The other thing I would say in terms of this figure's overall proportions, I would say they're just a little bit normal. He kind of just is a 7-inch figure. Let me show you. I will bring in Jim Gordon in his Batman suit, which is from the same storyline. So these two are meant to be posed together and they're basically the same height. Mr. Bloom is maybe marginally taller, but not much. He's essentially a 7-inch figure. And I think given the comic book is at pains to sort of often show him really, really tall and stretched and elongated, I think this could have been a bigger figure with sort of more unique proportions. And what's interesting about this figure's body is that it's already quite thin. I don't think this has been used before. I do not recognize this body. It looks to me like a unique sculpt. I mean, these legs are very basic. There's nothing going on here in terms of sculpt. They could have been reused a million times. I don't think I've seen it though. I can't think of a figure that uses these skinny ass legs. The John Kent body buck is similar but different. It's definitely not that. So really interesting. Let me know if you recognize it. And this body here, this torso, is sort of featureless and flat, but that matches a lot of the artwork, so I like that. The arms are quite thin, you'll see. But I think they could have gone further. I think they could have pushed the envelope here and just had some really disturbing proportions to make him more memorable. At the moment, he just looks like a tall, skinny dude with creepy hands, but, essentially that is what Mr. Bloom is. He has these unique boots, which look perfectly fine. These sort of like military combat boots, looks good. And there's not a lot to say about him other than that head sculpt and those hands are really good. I just wish we got some more hands to make him extra special. But yeah, look, as a first attempt at Mr. Bloom, it's pretty good. I'm content. I can just see the untapped potential of a character like this. As it is, if this is the only Mr. Bloom figure we get ever or for a long time, I think we can live with it. I think we can be happy that we've got Mr. Bloom in figure form. So on the shelf with the rest of your, Batman villains or Capullo characters, I think he will look really, really good. So that's Mr. Bloom in terms of the aesthetics and the look and the design. In terms of articulation, double jointed knees, can't quite kick his own ass, but not too bad. These boots are interesting, so they don't have the typical McFarlane ankle, so that's unique. I haven't seen like a boot cut like this. So they've got a boot cut here, but it means that he doesn't really have much of a rock. Like, you can kind of rock it, but it's not natural. So that's actually quite unique. I've never seen that before. Just a really flat cut at the boot. So there's not a lot going on here. It does have the toe articulation, but yeah, no real rocker. So that's really interesting. It looks like all the ball joint and stuff is inside the boots. So it kind of inhibits what you can do there, but you know, you don't really need it, I think, for this figure. The arms, very standard McFarlane fare. Can do what you want. Double jointed elbows. Hands are on the sculpted ball joint you've seen a million times. Head can rotate. Let's see how much he looks up. That much. Down. That much. So not a lot going on there. He spins 360 degrees at the diaphragm, which is on a ball joint, so you can kind of rock him, tilt him, but it's very, very tight because the cut here, you'll see, is extremely sort of compact. There's not a lot of wriggle room there, so it doesn't do a lot. You can also rotate him at the waist, which is good, but less kind of forward and backward movement that you'd want. Backward is good. I mean, you can kind of create the card art where he's sort of like bent backwards like that, but forwards is a bit more tricky, not doing a whole lot there. So it's kind of adequate. Like it's not mind-blowingly good articulation. It's not poor articulation. It's kind of just okay. It's fine. The real issue here is that he's just not ambitious enough in terms of his creepiness. If we had really long, freaky legs and arms, you know, imagine the kind of, you know, crazy poses you could get him in. Overall, Mr. Bloom, super happy to have him. Delighted to get this character in figure form, and I think it's a solid, competent job of it with no, you know, real obvious faults, but, you know, could have gone a lot further, I think, in terms of making this a super memorable figure. Okay, now let's move on to the star of the show. Well, at least I think it will be for many people, the Rookie Batsuit. Now, I've had to bring the camera back and push the figure out just to kind of fit him in the frame. This figure is amazingly tall, taller than I thought he would be, but, you know, pleasingly tall. I'm kind of miss the days when McFarlane mega figures were like really, really tall and massive. They've kind of been getting shorter and shorter, which is fine. They're often sort of made up for that in the bulk, but this is kind of just a tall ass figure, which I really love. It creates shelf presence, and I think when you bring in like a 7-inch figure, and here's Jim Gordon again, who is the, you know, figure that is ostensibly meant to be inside this suit, it fits. It's the right proportion and right scale in comparison to a 7-inch figure, particularly Jim Gordon, and it's kind of believable that this dude is inside that suit. So I really like the size. I think they got the size quite right. I like that a lot. And, you know, there's no doubting this figure has a lot of presence. You know, when you take it out of the box and you stretch its legs out, it looks cool, it looks impressive. Right out the gate, I love the color that they've chosen for the plastic to mold this guy in. It's that really beautiful, brilliant blue. I love the height. And I think the overall details, you know, I'm not going to go compare it against the comic book panels to determine the accuracy, but it certainly captures that lanky, Capullo style. Like it has a sort of chunky lankiness that Capullo often draws in that style, and I think this really replicates it really, really nicely. So the vibes are right, the style is right, the aesthetic is right, and so I think it'll look great on the shelf, no doubt about it. In terms of the finer details, that's where it gets a little bit interesting. You will see that the figure is cast in blue plastic. Now, that's kind of fine. The other option would have been to paint this figure a metallic blue. They didn't do that. They opted for this blue plastic, which is fine in theory. It gives it like this pearlescent metallic sheen, but what it also does when you use this pearlescent plastic, you get this marbling. And you'll see it's just really inconsistent. You get like the plastic swirling in the mold, and it kind of just looks like shampoo out of a shampoo bottle, and it's going to be inconsistent depending on your figure. Mine will look different to yours, will look different to someone else's, so, you know, various figures just might look better than others. Don't know how well this comes up on camera, but it's like a lot of like marbling right here on the chest. Very, very messy looking around this chest piece. And on the head. Now, I don't know, I mean, like, arguably, you could argue in your headcanon that that marbling there is kind of just like battle damage. It's the armor being a bit worn. I don't really like that. I would have preferred this was cleaner, sharper, snappier. I mean, it's meant to be a brand new GCPD rookie batsuit. I wish it was more perfect looking, I guess, but it doesn't look bad. I think it looks fine, but I just think maybe, paint, a shiny metallic paint would have really elevated this to the next level and made it look incredible. But I recognize that doing that sort of paintwork increases the budget. So this is a trade-off, and I think the blue is really great. But yeah, that pearlescent sort of swirling is just a tiny bit off-putting. Your figure might look better than mine. Mine kind of has one leg here that looks really, really nice and one leg here that looks really, really messy. And it's that inconsistency that kind of drives me mad. I'd be curious to see, those of you out there, are your chest pieces as mottled looking as mine? Let me know in the comments if you pick this up, what yours looks like. But moving on from that, I think overall, all the little details in the sculpt are really, really nice. So you'll see it's got a sculpted bat symbol there. Looks really, really good and accurate. Nice paintwork on these little blue and red lights. Really, really nice. The GCPD text there is just really crisp, really nice. You'll see here on the gauntlets, we've got these like accents, which are decently painted, not too messy. Same on the other side. And you will see this belt piece here, which is cast in really soft, nice plastic, has some nice yellow paint there to bring it to life. So that's really, really cool. The head piece here, the helmet piece, has sort of glossy paint for the front of the helmet to show the black glass. I think that looks nice. Paintwork there looks good. These antennae are sort of soft plastic, but not so soft that you think they're going to, deform. They look decent. You'll see here there's some silver paint on these rocket launcher things at the top. Again, some nice paint on the stripes. Red light, blue light, decently painted. And on the back, some nice accents there too. And on the ankles. So, overall, I think they've got the basic details of this figure right. So overall aesthetics, I think this guy looks excellent. Would have been better with some metallic blue paint, but what they settled on doesn't look bad. I just think I would have made a different choice, budget permitting. Let me show you what it looks like with the Jim Gordon head so you can see what that looks like. Okay, so I've swapped it for the unmasked or unhelmeted Jim Gordon head, and he just looks tiny in there. It's kind of hilarious looking. It's like a tiny little toddler in a grown man's suit, but that's what he would look like if he was in this hulking armor, and I think it looks quite cool. If that's the look you want to go for, so be it. I don't think that's the look I will go for. I think I love the helmeted look a lot more. And we'll talk about articulation later. It's worth noting that this head can just rotate in the socket, but it doesn't, you can't tilt it or anything because it's just a peg that pegs in. I think it's nice to get that head sculpt, honestly. I think it would have been really nice to get some alternate hands. Right now he just comes with two fists. I would have preferred some hands with some gestures, or that could hold a weapon or something. I don't know what weapon he would use, but that would have been nice as an option. So let's have a look at how this guy moves. Alright, so in terms of articulation, I think Rookie actually does better than you would expect from a mega figure, which are often big chunky hunks of plastic which, don't move that well. The head tilts a little bit, rocks from left to right, looks down quite a lot in that little cavity there, which is nice, doesn't look up much. These cannons do not rotate, they're fixed in place, don't twist them or you'll break them off. Now at the diaphragm here, he has a little bit of swivel, but it doesn't rotate 360 degrees at the diaphragm. It rocks from side to side a little bit, can turn left and right. Most of the rotation's happening here at the waist, which can go around 360 degrees, which is nice. The arms can go T-pose, but the cannons inhibit how far you can really push that. The joints here at the elbow are double jointed, but again, this big chunky bicep piece here really prevents you from doing too much with that, unfortunately. And this blade here on the gauntlet prevents you from rotating the wrists too much. The wrists are kind of just locked in place. So no, I say wrists, I meant fists. But given that they're fists, you don't really want to rotate them too much. It's not like you can put a weapon in there or anything, so it kind of doesn't matter. I think in terms of what you can do in terms of back and forth is really nice. They move back quite a lot, and that is nice. The soft diapery belt lifting piece here is good because it allows you to do the splits about yay much, kick out about that much. You'll see he's got double jointed knees, which is really, really nice. And there's a good amount of swivel here in the diaper, so you can rotate at the thigh there more than you kind of can with some, 7-inch scale figures. So however this is designed gets you a lot of movement in there. So that's really, really nice. And the little armor bits here prevent a lot happening at the ankle. It has a rocker, so you can rock it from side to side, but if you kind of have it straight like that, it doesn't rotate much because of those pieces there. But you're definitely going to be able to get this guy into some like really dynamic poses. I'm a terrible poser, we all know this, but for those with talent and skill and time, you're going to be able to do a lot with this guy. He's not your standard mega figure, he moves. He kind of has the articulation of a 7-inch figure, but he's a big, chunky robot batsuit boy. So I really, really like that. This figure is cool. You can do a lot of stuff, especially if you have patience and skill, which I do not. And from what I understand, the DC Collectibles version of this figure looked really great, but couldn't really move worth a damn. Let me know in the comments if I have that right. I can tell you, this one moves worth a damn. He's not perfect, but I am pleasantly surprised. Good job, McFarlane Toys. Okay, so the first comparison I want to do is just all the figures we've got from the Batman Super Heavy story arc so far, and that is the Jim Gordon Batman, the Rookie Batsuit, and Mr. Bloom. And you can see the Rookie Batsuit is very, very tall, towers over those other figures considerably, and appropriately so. I think, like I said before, Mr. Bloom could have been a little bit bigger, skinnier, taller to create some visual interest, but I think he looks pretty great alongside Jim Gordon Batman, and these three look great together. I would love to see more Capullo inspired figures in the line. So we don't even have a New 52 Batman yet, Todd. Where's our Greg Capullo New 52 Batman? I would like that tomorrow, please. But yeah, these three, very cool together. Next up, I just wanted to compare Rookie to another one of my favourite Batman suits, the Armoured Justice Buster suit. This thing is a behemoth, a beast. It's lightweight, fairly hollow, but massive on the shelf, and you see that even the Rookie suit looks really, really spindly and small compared to it, but he does exceed it in height because of those antennae and the top of the helmet. But yeah, just another fun mega figure suit of armor, so a nice comparison. I love both these figures. I think McFarlane does a great job, and I think this is one of the best and most underrated mega figures in the line, honestly. And on the left we have Doomsday, who's a great mega figure, but like when you look at him alongside these two, you can see that he is undersized. Even so, it was a challenge to fit all three of these guys in front of my diorama here in the frame. So yeah, that's just a little showcase of how tall and how big Rookie is alongside some other mega figures. And for my final comparison, I just wanted to show Mr. Bloom alongside some other Greg Capullo inspired or designed characters. On the left, we have the Rebirth Batman from Dark Knight's Metal in that Greg Capullo style. That's a really awesome figure. Actually one of the most underrated Batman figures in the line. It's got the sculpted battle damage, the sick axes, the torn cape. Really, really awesome figure. When are we going to get a New 52 Batman? I like the Rebirth suit a lot, but New 52 is where it's at. We need that soon. Please, McFarlane, please. Next, we have the Talon from Court of Owls, classic Capullo design, pretty cool figure too, Mr. Bloom, and on the far right, we have the Death of the Family Joker. Really sick head sculpt on that one, really, really like it. I think we could probably use an Endgame Joker, which had a very distinct look to it and has been done in figure form really nicely. I'd love to see McFarlane's take on it someday, so that is something to look forward to. So looking at this set as a whole, I think it's a real winner. We're getting two figures that we've never had before. Mr. Bloom I don't think we've ever had in figure form, and Rookie certainly is new to the DC Multiverse line, so that's always a plus when we get two unique characters in a two-pack. Mr. Bloom is a really fun figure to have, a modern Batman villain. I really like the head sculpt, I love the hands. I just wish McFarlane had pushed the envelope a little bit further in terms of the creepy factor to make him more unique, and some alternate hands would have really taken the figure to the next level. The Rookie Batsuit is great. I love the colour, I love the size, I love the general design. I do wish he'd gone for metallic blue paint instead of pearlescent plastic. That's a nitpick though. It looks fine. It just could have been better, but I understand there are budgetary considerations. Anyway, I think if you're a fan of the storyline or Greg Capullo's artwork, this set is a must-have. Anyway, that's all from me. If this video has been entertaining, why not give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't. And until next time, friends, happy collecting, and thanks so much for watching.